Good morning, traders. Today is Wednesday, October 26th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream where we talk about the ES and the NQ and the two-way auction process. All right. Well, speaking of the two-way auction process, what do we have happening in the market here? We have what we call excess. Excess is a sign of momentum. It is a trend to the upside. So right now on the daily, we have a trend. We have made higher highs and higher lows the last 3 days in a row. We've also had value higher the last 2 days in a row. So this is a trend. This is momentum to the upside. And what we got at the end of the day yesterday, just before the market closed, was what we call a spike up at the end of the day. And then we closed inside the spike. That was bullish to see. That was a sign that there was still momentum in the market and that it could keep going. So that triggered what we call spike rules in play this morning. Spike rules tell us that opening below the spike is the least bullish scenario. So it's not really appropriate to call it bearish. It just isn't bullish. It means whatever momentum we thought we had at the end of the day yesterday, we don't actually have it. Okay? So the next question we have to ask ourselves is, okay, great. We've got all this excess in the market. How are we going to balance off this excess? There's two ways to balance off this excess. If it's over, we may just keep trending higher today, but let's just assume that we've run out of momentum and we need to balance off all this excess. Well, one way we can balance it off is with price, which means we just pull the market back down and we look for support at a lower level, and then we continue higher from there. The other way we can balance off the excess is just by going sideways at higher prices and using time to balance it off instead of price. Now, I think the higher probability today is that we will get one of those two scenarios. We'll get some form of balance rather than continuation of the trend. And my reason for thinking that is just looking at the daily. Sorry, I know the markets are right about to open, but looking at the daily, I would love to be able to come back and back test these highs. That is testing Monday's high. And the overnight almost did it, but they didn't quite do it. So that is bullish to me that they created that 45-degree angle and that there were buyers clearly waiting to buy up the market in here. But we didn't quite come back. And as a matter of fact, the one level I was most focused on was this one here yesterday. We left behind with only 143 contracts. That's exactly where the buyers were waiting in the overnight. So that is weak to me, that the regular trading hours need to test that as well. So opening inside the previous day's range, of course, we're expecting chop. We're expecting the market to grind up and down. And the first potential support is going to be around 38.32. If that starts to break, I would look to test that overnight low, look to test the high from Monday at 38.22 and see if we can bring in buyers there. If we can bring in buyers there, we can either turn around and start heading higher and keep the momentum going and trend higher today, or just go sideways inside yesterday's range. But if that high breaks, if Monday's high cannot hold as support, then it starts to get very bearish, that perhaps what we need to do is backfill with price, not time. And all of a sudden, all these weak references start to come into play, and we start monitoring for continuation. So if Monday's high breaks, we look to repair these weak references at 37.91. If that's not enough, the next week reference, if that's not enough, the next, and so on and so forth. So I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to test Monday's high, and that'll be an important level to the downside. And to the upside, it will be yesterday's high. If we can get back up above yesterday's high, come back down and find support, then the momentum is still in the market, and we can look for that continuation higher from there. Inside yesterday's range, and particularly inside the overnight's range, I think we're just going to get a lot of chop and grind. So that's what I'm looking for. Chopville, USA. Speaking of which, resistance at 38.48. All right, so we got some low volume nodes right here above the halfback around 38.43. Those need to backfill so we can test and see, do we have any support here at the halfback? Or do we just get chop? Does it just go right through it? All right, here we go. That node is backfilling, or one of them anyway. Okay, they're both backfilled. So now we're testing the halfback here at 42.50. Can that hold as support? If we pass right back through it, it's a sign of chop. It's a sign the market is just going to keep grinding up and down. If it can hold as support, it means they're pushing up to test the next resistance. Obviously, overnight inventory was net short. So some of this momentum is just short covering, right? Those sellers taking profits. The question is, do new buyers step in here? All right, so we got support at the halfback. So now we're looking to test the next resistance up at 38.57-ish. Remember, we're still very much in a chop zone, so expecting a lot of grind in here. Oh, thank you for the reminder, Knob. Yeah, the Q, I think it had a gap down this morning, didn't it? Yeah, okay. So the Q is a lot more bearish than the ES because it had a gap down. So the first order of business for this market is to fill that gap. It looks like they are looking to do that, but man, they left behind a weak low. Whoops. Yep. So they left behind a weak low right at the overnight low. So I would expect there's going to be sellers waiting at that gap fill, looking to head back down and test that low. So the Q is looking for resistance around 11,516. Morty. 156 people watching and no one will smash that like button. We do have 69 likes right now. That's saying something. Okay, so the A period high is weak now because it's all sellers up there. All right, testing halfback once again for support. If we crash through, the chop continues. We crash through. All right, so now we're looking for support around the opening price right here at 38.37. We're looking for that to hold and the chop to continue. If we pass back through the opening price now, it increases the odds we're heading down to test that overnight low. Cause it's a chop zone. Design up. How much smashing can one do? One can smash all the smashing that smashes if one smashes the smashy smash. Is there a smash song? There's no smash song. That's what we need. That's what we need. We got to start every show with a smash the like button song. I got 99 likes. Do I have just one? No, Mark. Not smash mouth. Smash the like. All right. So that little low volume node is now just backfilled. So we're looking for support at the opening price, 38.37. The knob says, the Q wants to visit. Pappy, I can feel it. What's the Q doing? All right, once again, testing that opening price for support here on the ES. Ooh. See, now what's with you, Q? You came that close to filling the gap and you couldn't quite do it? So now you got weakness on both sides of the market, increasing the odds of more chop. Yeah, I mean, this is making a prediction like way too early, but there is a chance this could be a magnetic zone for the Q here. Meaning we may keep trying to push higher or trying to push lower today and keep coming back to it just because we spent these 2 overnights in a row rotating in here. That's kind of the market telling us they weren't ready to go higher yet. Anyway, let's see what happens on the gap fill. But the Q looks choppy. Screwball gap and go on the NQ? Yeah, I don't think so. It just feels it feels very weak the way they left behind that small of a gap. But yes, if they get resistance here and start to head back down, for sure, because they got to repair this low they just made. All right, so now the question is, can they turn half back into support? As always, when it's chopping, if they're ready to break one way or another, the first thing they often do is turn half back into support or resistance. So can they now hold half back as support to try to test higher? Archie, BTC breaking the massive bear downtrend. Big money buying as well. 20,000. You guys get so excited so fast with the corn. I could see it as potentially starting to set up for something. You know? I'd love to see it basically break higher. I'd love to see it head up to like 22. Get some resistance in there and then come back down and back test this little mini balance it's been in for however many days this is. 3 months or whatever. That would be the entry for the breakout trade. Right now, you don't really know. But you push up, get some resistance around 22, come back down and turn, 20, looks like 4-ish into support. Then you get the move. All right, can halfback hold as support on the ES here? It's holding for the moment. So now, did previous support just start to become resistance? Did we just turn this 37 area into resistance? If so, it means we got to chop back down to that opening price, looking for support once again. 'Cause it's a chop zone and they're chopping it up. Choppity choppity with the short-term traders versus the computer. All right, there you have it. They turned support into resistance, heading back down to test the opening price once again. In a when what should happens doesn't, it is a little bit bearish that we weren't able to head back up and just test that high, the A period high, because it was weak, as it only had 5 contracts and they were all sellers. So if this now holds as resistance, it could be enough to break through and head down and test that overnight low. So there you have it. That resistance holding, again, a when what should happens that is a little bit bearish. Dan, let me introduce you to my friend Archie. Jay Trader, with this action, you could be reading a book. What a great segue. By the way, everyone, there's a link at the top of the chat for the book club website, tradersbookclub.com. Oh, heading back down to test that opening price for support. 38.37. Can it hold? If not, we're looking to test that overnight low. Yeah, book club tonight, 8 p.m. If you want to join, it's not too late. You can just click on that link to go to the website and then sign up for the email newsletter there. and you just put your name on the newsletter. I'll be sending out links this afternoon to join the Zoom call or watch the live stream tonight. And even if you don't want to do it, even if you're like, Charles, I haven't read the book, I would feel weird going to a book club when I have no idea what the book is, I recommend you still sign up now, because tomorrow I'll be sending out the email for everyone to vote on what book to do next month. So you want to get on that list today so that when that email comes out tomorrow, if you want to join us for book month next month, you can vote on the book. And there's no better time to go sign up for book club than in a chop zone where they're just chopping it up. Uh-oh, something just happened. Someone somewhere just hit a button. Oh, it was the BOC rate decision. I mean, obviously it was news. Man, look at the tick. I don't think I've ever seen a jump like that before. That's intense. All right, well, this is bullish. They are starting to push through the resistance above here. Obviously, you can't trust anything that is a reaction to the news. They will likely pull all this back. But now we can see if that area that was acting as resistance before can now become support for continuation higher from there once the news bots are done. And here's that chance. Can they now turn this area around 47 that was acting as resistance into support? Or will the chop continue? Bill? Am I on the spam list today? What's going on? Bill, calling 100 BTC by Christmas. Bill, we need to add 2 trillion to the market cap. Bill, come on, Bill. Don't be silly. William. All right, well, we're getting support right now at the halfback. The market's having a chance to absorb the news. And I love the simplicity of this. Did they hit the right or the wrong button? It looks like they hit the right button. It's finding support for now. But of course, it's still a chop zone. So we got to wait and see if it can hold. Ooh, support is starting to break. That means more chop. Come on, buyers. You can do it. Baltazar? What does the blue, red, and pink color on your profile mean? Sure, let's go over it real quick. The market's just chopping it up anyway. So the blue box that you see, we call that the value area. That's basically 70% of the day's trade took place inside of there. And so that just gives us an idea of where the stronger momentum is. So for example, today, the value area is inside of yesterday's value area. So it just kind of means the market's doing nothing. It hasn't made a decision. But if they start to pull that value area lower, or they start to pull that value area higher than yesterday, it starts to give us a signal that maybe we're getting momentum. So that's what that blue box is right there. And then on the volume profile that you see over here on the left, the colors differentiate how much volume is trading compared to the day's range. So the red is the top 30% of volume within the day's range. The pink is the middle 40% of the volume. And the white is the bottom 30% of the volume. And then the volume profile that's in the middle of the chart right here, that's the same thing, but it's for the current 30-minute profile. And the orange that you see over here, that is the cumulative volume of the last like 200 days, all smushed together. So I can just see where the largest nodes of volume are that we've traded at recently. Now back to the chop zone. All right, so of course that first move up into here, we're going to ignore, right? Because that was just a reaction to the news. Now, if they want to keep going, they've got a lot of resistance. They got to grind their way through. And so we're looking to see when can they turn half back into solid support. So when does it pull down, bounce, 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 it holds, then it's ready for continuation higher. And until then, chop between support and resistance. Exciting stuff. Mark, to me, it looks like the liquidity is above on the book map. More of it anyway. All right. Well, we're building up support here. They're holding the zero line on the ticks. So I'm just starting to get a little bit bullish. If we can get through this resistance over here on the cumulative and get back up into the spike from yesterday, get above 38.67, and we can keep the ticks above the zero line, I'll get bullish up there. Until then, more chop and more grind. But I would just say it's starting to build momentum. Like the little engine that could, the little buyers that could, they're fighting to try to break higher. All right, so the first resistance that we were just fighting to get through was this part of this node right here, around 38.57. So now, as always, can that become support? Can this become where the buyers step in to try to take the market back up into yesterday's spike? Another week high, only 5 contracts. All right, so now testing it for support. Keep an eye on those ticks. Can they get them back above the 0 line? All right, well, that is bullish to me. That is buyers stepping in to hold. So I know it's still very choppy, but I am bullish now as long as we stay above, actually a little bit higher than that. As long as we stay above this little node right here that's right below halfback, 38.46, I'm bullish to try to head up and test yesterday's high. It feels like the buyers are building momentum here. So I do think it'll be a choppy trip up, but I think that's the direction we're going. Okay, so as we work our way above 3867, we want to keep those ticks above the zero line. We want to see that there are still more buyers stepping in up here. So that we can get the signal that there is still the momentum that was in the market at the end of the day yesterday, which would be bullish for continuation. Oh no, I didn't cut it in time. Oh shit, sorry guys. T-Work. First time with headphones, so much more detail. Good morning, T-Work. How's your trading going? Arthur, is it cold and snowy in New York City? No, not at all. I had my window open last night. It's almost like Seattle weather. It's like rainy and slightly chilly. All right, so now that we're back up in the base of the spike, the first target is a test of the overnight high. Once we poke above there, can we find support to head up and test yesterday's high up at 38.7450? That's a weak reference because there was only 10 contracts that traded there and they were all short. So once we push through that weak reference and we repair that weakness, do we get new sellers up there? If so, it is bullish for continuation. I would also say we'd like to see the tick stay above the zero line from here. If we're going to hold the momentum to keep this going, they should hold those ticks above the zero. Chilling with Dylan, 3 p.m. Central? Yeah. Right at market close is when I consider the profile for the day done. So that first big move that happened right at the close yesterday, that's part of the overnight for me. And thank goodness, right? If not, if I hadn't had my closing time right at 4 p.m. Eastern, then we wouldn't have had a spike because we would have pulled back down in the range. So we wouldn't have had that cue that there was still momentum in the market. So we may be desperately looking for the market to get slapped down right now. We may be shorting the living heck out of this, looking for the market to break lower, because we didn't get the signal at the end of the day yesterday that there was still bullish momentum. Who knows, right? So that's why I do it the way I do it. For the spike rules. Okay, so as we print the C period here, okay, well, we're automatically making a poor high. That increases the odds that the market is going to push away, looking for support, but then come back and repair that poor high. Repairing that poor high will be the beginning of a trend to the upside. Leaving behind this many single prints increases the odds the market will need to pull back and backfill some, if not all, of these single prints. And we will, of course, be looking for support at the base of the single prints, which is also the halfback. So bullish and bullish. So as I said before, what we're looking to have happen now is we're looking for the market to head up and test yesterday's high. And it'll be whether or not, also we need to watch the ticks. They got to hold those. Once they push above yesterday's high, if they find support up there, if we get new buyers above yesterday's high, that is a continuation of the momentum on the daily. Okay? We zoom out and we realize that would mean we're still making higher lows and higher highs for the day. We still have more momentum to come. So getting above yesterday's high and finding support up there would be very bullish. Can they do it? With that, I will say goodbye to all of you. Farewell, au revoir. I wish you the very best. And we will see you here tomorrow morning. Don't forget to sign up for the book club if you're interested in booking it up. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.